Hey guys, I'm Chef D-Max. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today, pan con tomate. What is that? That's basically tomato bread. And that's what we're gonna be making right now. So click subscribe, ring that bell, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll see you back in 2 seconds. Okay guys, we're back in the kitchen. I'm warming my pan up over here. Why are we warming the pan? We're gonna make a really fast dish. This is kind of a Spanish tapas dish with bread that's just done crispy. It's done in a lot of different ways. A lot of times it can be toasted on an open fire and a grill. Open flame is always my favorite. But we're gonna toast it right in the pan. I can show you how to do this at home. So what I have here is what could be considered 3 major parts of food happiness, right? We've got cheese, bread, tomatoes, right? What else do you need? So that's all this dish really is all about. So I've got a beautiful ciabatta bread here. Why am I using ciabatta, Italian bread? Because I don't have the proper crunchy Spanish bread that would call for a pan con tomate, a traditional. So I'm going to make do with what I have. Now you can't use Wonder Bread if you've got Wonder Bread at home. Don't do that, okay? Go to your baker and buy a good bread, okay? You want something that's got nice holes and crannies in it. It shouldn't be a smooth, dense bread. It should have a lot of, nice pockets where the yeast had really developed in this bread and made a really nice, flavorful dough that is you're really eating bread. So if you have a bad bread, you're not going to make this dish good. You got to have a great bread. So get a great bread. Normally, I would say olive oil on this bread, put it on an open fire grill, maybe a little salt on it, and let it grill on both sides, and then we'd add our tomato. But I'm going to start it off right now with some good olive oil in there. And I actually put some butter. Why? Because I love bread and butter. Who doesn't like bread and butter? This is not a traditional Spanish pan con tomate, but it's basically a version of it. So with that, I've got extra virgin olive oil and butter in there, and I'm going to put that down in there. Now I'm going to turn this way down because I don't want it to burn. I want it to cook nice and slowly in that butter and get crispy, okay? While we're doing that, I've got tomato. So this pan con tomate is about taking the beautiful summer flavor of a tomato, that fresh tomato, man, and giving that to this dish. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tomato and I want to cut it through the belly. Why through the belly and not through the stem? I cut it through the belly because see how it exposes all of these seed pockets? Because we don't want this. We can use this tomato water for something else. If you're doing a lot of pan con tomate, you can use it for something else. But I'm going to get rid of some of the seeds in the water. You got just the tomato flesh, okay? Because we don't want this tomato mixture to be too watery, okay? And you can see in my pan here with the stem is a lot of tomato water and the seeds, okay? So we'll use that for something else, okay? Now, what I do is I take a box grater with the bigger gratings, right? And I hold the skin in my hand and I just grate that flesh until it gets to the skin, okay? And then I kind of keep moving it around on there, scraping it to get that paste going. See, and then the cool part is you don't scrape your hands because you almost have the tomato skin as a barrier, okay? And I'll do the same with the other side. Just like this. It's grating that skin, grating that flesh, holding the skin. Like that. I just washed the tomato, so it's kind of slipping around a little bit. But you just always just gonna grate it like this. Now, this is how fresh tomato sauce is made in Italy too. When they do like a really quick tomato sauce in the north, they just box grate it like this, okay? And then what you end up with is beautiful, and I'm going to pour this out into a bowl here so you can see it, right? And you get the beautiful flesh of the tomato as you can see here, right? And with that, now, let me rinse my hands really quick. Now, what I want to show you is taking this tomato, and now we're going to flavor it. So I have some garlic confit here. If you have raw garlic, like 1 clove of raw garlic would work good in this, okay? This is tomato confit. You can click up here to the left to learn how to make that. I'm going to take, and it's already kind of cooked, so it's going to have less of a harsh flavor. See, I'm going to take like about, you know, like a large teaspoon there and add that in to my tomato mixture. And then I'm going to take salt. You got to have salt. And the salt's probably another thing, like another teaspoon, I would say. Cracked pepper. And then olive oil. Okay, now, excuse me. So with this, I'm going to take a little fork here because fork will allow me to mix that better. And we're going to mix this nice and smooth into this tomato paste, if you will, right? Now, let's check our bread out. See, our bread is toasting beautifully. Look at that. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Okay? Now, what we want to do is flatten it down a little bit. The thing is, with this bread, a really good pan con tomate would have very crunchy bread, okay, very crispy bread. And then with the crispy bread, you have this beautiful tomato mixture. Okay, so I want to taste that. And that's it. It's the essence of garlic, tomato, and the way the salt brings that out, a little bit of ground black pepper for flavor, and that's it. And olive oil, okay? The simplest dish ever. So it's kind of like the version of a tomato mayonnaise sandwich in America. So we'll be back in a second. I'll plate this up, and we're going to get to taste it. Okay, we're back. I'm ready to take this bread out. And I've got this beautiful bread that I've just sauteed in olive oil and butter. And I'll just put a little bit more olive oil and butter on it right when it comes off. And I'm actually going to put a little salt on it right when it comes off too, because you can't have enough perfect amount of salt on there, right? So the final touch to this will be our tomato mixture. So what I want to do is scoop this right down our bread here. And we coat the top of this with tomato. So you can see 1 tomato per large piece of bread like this is probably right around where you want to be. That way you can be very generous with it. Okay. If you guys like fresh summer tomatoes like I do, then you will love this dish, okay? So with this now, I'm just going to spread it out. And what you're looking to do is just kind of spread it in those nooks and crannies of the bread. And again, what I love about the Spanish bread, the traditional Spanish bread for this, it's got a lot of those little nooks and crannies. And it's super crunchy. You can't really, you can't truly replace the flavor of that. You have to really try that once in your life. Go to Spain and try that bread. Now, I do have a friend living in Madrid, and when she came back home, she had brought me this cheese, which is, you can see that by the rind, it's an aged, like manchego style cheese. So what I'm going to do, which is very traditional as well, I'm going to trim the ends of this off, because that's, and I use that. Like, I'll take all the trims of these ends and I'll mix that with cream and simmer that into some cream. And then after you simmer it for really lightly for a while, let it steep in there, you can throw those ends out finally. You know, I don't eat them, but they get that great flavor of the cheese into that cream, and then use that cream to make a pasta. It's beautiful. So with this, very traditional too would be to have this with thin slices of manchego on there. So you can see I'm just going to put that right on here like this. Thin slices, not too thick. You just want that to be super thin. And that's it. So this dish is, you know, as simple as it gets, but you have to have good ingredients. You have to have beautiful manchego style cheese, or this. If you don't have any friends, bring in your great cheese back from Spain. You're going to have to go find that, right? But what you're going to get is a nice crispy bread. You can hear that crunch in the bread. Nothing is better than that. The cheese has this great kind of cave, aged kind of richness to it. The tomatoes, that summer fresh tomato flavor. And then you've got the bread is nice and crunchy. The olive oil, garlic, you can only imagine at home. It's amazing, right? So definitely try this. A spin on a classic Spanish tapa, pan con tomate. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you back in the kitchen soon. I'm Chef Dean Max.